Pretty Little Liars was famous for the number of deaths that happened over the course of the show's 7 seasons. Here are the last words many of the Pretty Little Liars characters who didn't make it to the end said right before they died. At the start, the biggest mystery of Pretty Little Liars was finding out who killed Alison and who was sending the girls harassing text messages. At the end of Season 1, viewers had witnessed the liars go through so many possible A suspects that it had become almost like a game. By the season finale, the girls think they know who A is once and for all. They suspect Ian, Spencer's brother-in-law, is Allie's killer because he had been hooking up with Allie. In a chaotic scene in the church bell tower, Ian chases Spencer down and tries to convince her that he didn't kill Allie. Then, just when it seems like Spencer is about to fall to her death, a mysterious figure dressed all in black shows up. When Ian sees them, he utters his last words.
What are you doing here?
The figure pushes Ian down the bell tower, seemingly to his death. In a twist, we later discover he didn't die from that accident, but it's not long before he does. While he appears in flashbacks and old videos in subsequent episodes, chronologically, the last words he says before his death remain the same. Perhaps the saddest death on Pretty Little Liars was that of Maya St. Germain, Emily's first girlfriend. Though Maya was found dead in the Season 2 finale, it wasn't until midway through Season 3 that her final moments and her killer were revealed. While Emily is with Nate, who she thinks is Maya's cousin, he shows her some videos made by Maya, and it's clear Emily knows something is up. The last words Maya says in the video are,
"I'm coming home. And if you still want to be with me, if I can still count on us, I know I can get through this."
That's when it's revealed that Nate wasn't Maya's cousin, but her ex-boyfriend and her killer. It's unclear exactly what Maya said before she died, or if she even got a chance to utter any last words before Nate attacked her. However, it is telling that the creators of the series had Maya's last words on screen be directed towards Emily, especially as Maya was Emily's first real love. Emily was really put through a lot on Season 3 of Pretty Little Liars. Between mourning the death of Maya and then getting attacked by Maya's jealous ex-boyfriend, it was a lot. Nate chases Emily around, and they end up in a lighthouse, with Nate and his knife getting closer and closer to Emily. Nate's last words as he taunts Emily and continues to chase her are,
Come here. Where are you going?
At one point, he even scoffs and laughs at her attempts to break free from his grip. So when Emily finally turns the knife on him, killing him, it's pretty shocking. It's clear Emily is terrified and shocked that she killed someone, but considering the fact that it was self-defense, she has nothing to feel guilty about. No one in Pretty Little Liars is safe from being a suspect, and Officer Garrett Reynolds was actually assumed to be guilty of killing Alison DiLaurentis until just moments before his death. Arya is actually the one to discover Garrett's dead body, as she is trapped in a box with it on a Halloween train. It is later revealed that Garrett was killed by none other than Officer Wilden. Because of that, it's likely that Garrett's actual last words were only known by Wilden, but in his last scene on the train before he's found dead, he talks to Spencer about what he knew regarding Alison's death. After Spencer orders him to stay put, he responds,
Where do I have to go?
From the very beginning of Pretty Little Liars, one question has haunted viewers at home. While the girls are receiving harassing messages and being tormented by an anonymous person claiming to know who killed Alison, why wouldn't they just go to the police? Well, once you meet Detective Darren Wilden, you understand why. So when he died, it wasn't the saddest day in Rosewood. After Wilden threatens Hannah, her mom Ashley runs him over. However, a couple episodes later, he turns up very much alive and just wanting to know where his missing police cruiser is. He tells Hannah,
All I want from you and your mother is that car.
However, it's not long before Wilden shows up dead, and while the character is later impersonated by someone wearing a very realistic-looking mask, and also appears in flashbacks, his final on-screen words are all about his police cruiser. For the longest time on Pretty Little Liars, the death of Alison DiLaurentis was the biggest mystery, along with who was behind the A persona. But once those questions were answered, there was more to be uncovered. And Allie's mom, Jessica DiLaurentis, was killed for knowing too much at the end of season 4. In Jessica's final speaking scene, she is upset at Hannah's mom Ashley for having the 4 main girls model in a bridal fashion show. She asks,
"You asked your daughter and her friends to model the dresses?"
When Ashley reveals that the girls offered to help out, Jessica replies,
"They offered or you asked?"
Jessica presses Ashley at the bridal show, and those were her last words as she then stormed away. While Jessica isn't found dead until the very end of the next episode, this is her last appearance on screen, and it's pretty mysterious. In season 5 of Pretty Little Liars, there were plenty of new bad guys that the girls had to face. And in one episode, when Shana shows up to supposedly kill all the girls in an empty auditorium, she instead meets her own end. While Shana was working with both Jenna and Melissa to target the girls, she went rogue when she showed up with a gun ready to kill. Pointing the gun at Spencer, Hannah, Emily, and Alison, Shana says,
"Jenna doesn't even know I'm here, and she'll never know. And once I'm done with you, she can finally get back to her life."
Aria then attacks Shana with a stage prop and she falls off the stage dead. Shana's final words were exactly what you would expect from a villain in Pretty Little Liars. Perhaps the biggest plot twist in Pretty Little Liars history is the discovery that Alison DiLaurentis is not in fact dead. Instead, she is in hiding. As for the body the police uncovered and thought was Allie's, it actually belonged to Bethany Young. Young ended up being killed by Mona and Melissa as they both thought she was Alison. Before her death, Bethany was a patient at the Radley Sanitarium, and she was more than a little unstable. She pushed Toby's mom off of the roof, killing her. Charlotte witnesses this and asks her,
"Bethany, what did you do?" "What did I do?" "You pushed her, freak!"
And those were Bethany's last spoken words on the show. Toby is a seriously huge mystery for most of Pretty Little Liars, and that goes for his mother too, who died while she was at Radley. It's later revealed by Charlotte that Toby's mom Marion was actually killed by Bethany Young. In her death scene, Marion didn't say much, so to know her last words, we need to look to one of Toby's flashbacks. After explaining to her son that she was feeling tired, she walked away after saying her final words, and the most mom thing ever.
"I'll make you a snack."
Later in the series, it is revealed that Sara Harvey was part of the A-Team, so she wasn't exactly a fan favorite. And in season 7, her time on the show comes to an end. Sarah's last words are a warning to Emily.
"I'm trying to keep you safe, Emily. I want you to be safe. Please, don't come back."
When Emily counters that she isn't scared of Jenna, Sara responds,
"I'm not talking about Jenna. I'm talking about..."
But she is cut off before she could share who she's referring to. Sara then dies in her next scene. After she packs up her hotel room, she starts to head out the door and notices someone on the other side when she opens it up. There's a shocked look on Sara's face. Eventually, it's revealed that Noel Kahn was Sara's killer, though the actual death is never shown. Basically, all throughout Pretty Little Liars, Noel Kahn was a bit of a shadowy figure. At first, you just thought he was the boy next door. Then you thought he might be A, and then you realized he was homicidal. So in season 7, when he tries to kill all the girls, it's no surprise that he ends up dead himself. In Noel's death scene, he tries to kill the liars, starting with Hannah and Emily. But when he finds his perfect weapon, it turns out to majorly backfire against him. He takes an axe from a suit of armor and, hunting down Hannah and Emily, says,
I always get what I want.
Then Hannah creeps up behind Noel, knocks the axe out of his hand and onto the floor before he falls onto it, decapitating himself. In the final season, Alison's husband, Elliot Rollins, also known as Archer Dunhill, turns out to be a pretty bad dude, and Allie has no idea until it's almost too late. His final words are,
"Change your plans, Alison."
Then Archer is seen driving a car in the dark with an unconscious Allie in the front seat. Spencer, Hannah, Aria, and Emily track Archer down, and Hannah accidentally hits Archer with her car, killing him. One of the more complex villains in Pretty Little Liars history was Charlotte, Alison's transgender sister. And in her final moments fighting with Mona, Charlotte put up one hell of a fight. Charlotte chokes Mona, telling her,
They'll never love you.
Mona fights back, and it all comes to a conclusion when Charlotte is pushed up against a wall that has a large nail sticking out that impales her neck. Wren Kingston returned as the love interest of Spencer's long-lost twin, Alex Drake, who was desperate to take over Spencer's life. In order for Alex to completely become Spencer, she has to be shot in the shoulder like Spencer was. Wren struggles with the task, but after shooting Alex, he tells her,
It's okay. I got you.
It's unknown just how or when Wren died, but Alex reveals that she had his ashes turned into a diamond. After a time jump, it is revealed that Toby is in love with a new woman named Yvonne Phillips. But after a car accident, Yvonne ends up in a coma, from which she never fully recovers. In her final scene, the pair are talking about all the adventures they're going to take together once Yvonne gets out of the hospital. Then Toby asks if she's happy. Before taking her last breath, she responds,
Happiest.
Esther Potter was a client at the bank where Hannah's mom Ashley worked, and she only stopped by once a year to deposit large amounts of cash into a safety deposit box. Because Ashley was short on cash, she ended up taking some to help cover her mortgage. Pointing to candies on Ashley's desk, Esther coyly asks if she can take some. After grabbing almost all the candies in the dish, Esther tells Ashley,
Right, see you next year.
But of course, there wouldn't be a next year, as Esther would later die. Naturally, that complicated Ashley's financial situation. In season 6 of Pretty Little Liars, the show went through a time jump 5 years into the future, and Emily reveals that her dad, Wayne Fields, died serving in the army. In season 6, Emily takes a phone call from her dad, but we don't get to hear what he says. To look back at Wayne's last words on the show, in season 4, it's clear he loved his daughter. He rescues her from a potential A attack at the school. After revealing he has a heart condition, Wayne tells Emily,
I ain't going anywhere. You hear me? You're stuck with me for the long haul, kid.
His final words on the show prove just how close the father and daughter were. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more list videos about your favorite TV shows are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.